Hi there, this is Craig Beck from StopDrinkingExpert.com. Welcome to the video today, which is entitled, Is it too late to stop drinking? And the reason for this video today is because a couple of days ago, I got an email from a lady. She's been heavily drinking for a couple of decades. Alcohol has completely destroyed her life. She is miserable beyond belief, and she wants this poison out of her life. But she says, I'm 60 years old. Is it too late to stop drinking? Now, you already know that I'm going to say no, because that's my job. But let me explain why. First of all, from your health point of view, from your liver point of view, there is no point where it's too late to stop drinking. All right, that's not strictly true. There is one point where it is too late. And that is the point where the doctor says to you, I'm sorry, but your liver is completely shot and you have 6 months left to live. At that point, it's too late. And if you are at that point, then there's no point you watching this video because you have better things to do with your time. You have more important things to do rather than debate whether to stop drinking alcohol or not, because it's too late for you at this point. And I know that sounds blunt, and I'm saying it because I'm assuming you're not in that position. I'm assuming you're still debating whether you stop drinking. Now, unless you are at that point where the doctors have said there is no hope, you're on the transplant list, but we know that it takes a year to get a transplant. You're not going to live more than 6 months. As long as you're not at that point, then there is always a benefit to stopping drinking, because the liver is the most amazing organ in your body. It is willing, able, and capable to regenerate itself. And it wants to get started on that job. But it can't until you stop putting poison into your bloodstream. Because all the time you're drinking, your liver is busy dealing with the problem. Unless you take away that problem of processing alcohol on a daily basis, it can't really get started on the job that it wants to do, which is to regenerate and give you a functioning liver. So from a health point of view, there is no point where it's too late. You know, we know that alcohol is a carcinogenic, and basically every time you drink it, it's a bit like playing Russian roulette. You're just hoping that there are no loaded bullets in the chamber when you fire the gun every time you take a drink of alcohol. Because think about it, if you get cancer from drinking, of course it's not one drink that gives you the cancer, but there will be one drink where that cell mutates. There will be a point where this cancer begins. And so you can point to one drink and say, that's the drink that gave me cancer, if it was possible to do that. So think about drinking like playing Russian roulette every time you take a drink. So would you agree that there is a point where stopping playing Russian roulette is beneficial? Doesn't matter how old you are, does it? As long as you stop playing, it's a beneficial decision. And you see, to think that I'm 60, so how long am I going to live, is a ridiculous thing, because you have no idea, do you? We don't get to know how long we're going to live, generally. You know, if you're 60 years old and you're thinking maybe I'll live 10, maybe 20 years, or if you feel pretty miserable and you feel ill because of the alcohol, maybe you're even thinking maybe I'll only last a couple of years. But, you know, if you're 60 years old, it wouldn't be impossible for you to live another 60 years. It has happened. And then when you put it in that context, to have said at 60, it's too late for me, it's ridiculous, isn't it? You're only halfway through. We don't get to find out how long we're going to live. But you see, the thing is here, alcohol and the ego go hand in hand. The ego is that part of you that's insane. It's a part of your consciousness that sits in your head, judging and assuming and suggesting things you need to be happy. It is that voice in your head that says you need more money, you need better things than the neighbor next door, you need monuments built in your honor. We saw this with Saddam Hussein in Iraq, Every building was called the Saddam Hussein something building. Saddam Hussein International Airport. Monuments and statues and portraits everywhere. Why? Because his ego was trying to make him permanent. You see, your ego is that part of you that knows, it's a part of your brain, it knows it's a physical piece of meat in your head, and it knows that it will die one day. And it simply can't accept this. It's too terrifying. And so your ego will spend your entire lifetime trying to prove that that is not true. This is why we say it's insane, because your ego will spend your whole life trying to prove that death won't happen to you, trying to make you permanent. Now, the thing about alcohol is it's a depressant. That's what they say anyway. I kind of disagree with that, and I prefer to say that it's not a depressant, it's a mood enhancer. Now, if you go to a nightclub, you're 20 years old and you're in a nightclub and you're dancing away and you drink alcohol, I'm willing to admit that the alcohol maybe makes the night even more fun because it's a mood enhancer. Now, the problem there is that once you get addicted to the drug and things start going wrong in your life, your health starts to fail, your finances get hit because you're spending so much on alcohol, your career starts to suffer, your relationships fall down. The more things start to fall apart because of the drug, the more miserable you become, the more depressed you become. Now, what are you taking? A mood enhancer. So suddenly alcohol has changed from this thing that makes a party go with a swing to something that amplifies and magnifies your depression. That's why they say it's a depressant. So you feel a little bit depressed because you've blown all the mortgage money on alcohol. Alcohol jumps in there and makes you feel 10 times worse. But then it suggests that you can make the situation better by leaning on your good old friend, alcohol. This is the loop, and this is why alcohol is so powerfully good at what it does. It makes you depressed and then suggests to you that it can make you happy. It's a crazy, painful loop. And this works exceptionally well with the ego, right? Because when you get too attached to your ego, you start living in two time periods that don't exist. Because the ego only lives in two of the three time periods. It lives in the past, which is gone, doesn't exist, and it lives in the future, which doesn't exist. It never exists in the moment. And what it says to you, your ego, is that the past was better. Things in the past were better. Life was better back then. Things in the future, it suggests, are going to be worse. And so this works very well with alcohol because then alcohol says, aha, I have a solution to this. Forget about the past. Drink alcohol. Don't worry about the future. Drink alcohol. So this is why they work hand in hand together. And that's why they say, if you want to be sad, live in the past. And if you want to be worried, live in the future. The only moment that exists is the now. This moment is a gift. And that's why they call it the present. Cheesy, but true. And so, you see, when you start saying, is it too late to stop drinking? You're living in the future. You're listening to your ego. And you're making assumptions. Nobody assumes, oh, this will be my last day alive. I will be dead by tomorrow, unless they know something. So even at 60 years old, even if you're saying, oh, I've probably only got a couple of years left, you have no idea. That is purely speculation of your ego. 2 days ago, there was a terrorist attack in London, and a young Canadian lady was the first one to be revealed as being killed by this atrocious event. She's 30 years old, died in the arms of her fiancé. I mean, so painfully sad. But I tell you what, nobody could have predicted that for her. She had no idea that was coming. She didn't wake up that morning and think, today will be the day I die. This is it, it's over today. She assumed, like the rest of us, we'll live to be 60, 70, 80 years old. She had no idea life was going to roll a dice that day and everything would change. And that's the point. There's no point saying, is it too late to stop drinking? Because you have no idea how long you have. Ideally, the best time to have stopped drinking was 10 years ago, 20 years ago. But that's gone, it doesn't exist, no point thinking about it. The second best time to stop drinking? Now, right now, in this moment. So you can't affect that old decision because it's gone, but you can affect this one right now in this moment. And that's what I tell the members of the Stop Drinking Expert program. Because I think a lot of people find it quite daunting and terrifying to consider living the rest of their life with never having a drink again. It puts too much pressure on you. It makes you feel anxious. And the problem with that is, what do us drinkers do when we feel anxious? We drink. So there's no point thinking, oh, I'm going to have to spend the rest of my life without a drink. Because you don't know how long the rest of your life is going to be. The only thing you have to do is not drink in this moment. Forever. That's the only thing you ever have to do. That's why I say don't count the days since you had a drink last. It doesn't make any difference. It's irrelevant. It doesn't matter that it's 70 days since you had a drink of alcohol. as long as you're not drinking in this moment. That's the only thing that counts. Because if you start counting days, then you'll say, well, someone who's not had a drink in 10 years is better than someone who's not had a drink in 10 days. It's irrelevant. Makes no difference. As long as you don't drink now. And that's all you need to worry about. So is it too late to stop drinking? Never. As long as you start now. Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you get these popping up in your email and things like that. And if you want to ask me any private personal questions about the Stop Drinking Expert process, you can do so via the website www.stopdrinkingexpert.com. Thanks for watching. I'm Craig Beck.